road to San Francisco in the AFC, run straight through Kansas City. The Chiefs kick off 2025 on the biggest international stage the NFL has ever had, and the question is simple. Can Mahomes, Reid, and company write another Super Bowl story? Let's break it all down. Welcome to the Adam Kennedy Show, where sports and entertainment collide. I'm your host, AK The Ref, and today we're previewing the Kansas City Chiefs 2025 NFL season. We're going to talk about the keys to success, the biggest challenges, and why September and December might be the most important months of the year. And yes, we'll look ahead to that Super Bowl in the Bay Area. So let's get into it. The Chiefs, as you're listening to this, open the season on September 5th. Friday night in Sao Paulo, Brazil versus the division-hated rivals, the Chargers, the NFL's first ever game in Brazil. Why this matters? It sets the tone for the entire year. National TV, global eyes, rival division opponent. You can't get better than that. If the Chiefs win big in Brazil, they start 1-0 with momentum and swagger. But if they stumble, suddenly the AFC West smells blood. But that global spotlight is only the start. The real key is protecting the franchise player. Josh Simmons protecting Mahomes' blind side is the number one offensive storyline. It has to be. I know we have Rashee Rice, but I think it is Josh Simmons. He's young, he's talented, but unproven on this stage. Even though he had a pretty good preseason, we see the potential. But why this matters, you say? Mahomes can create magic, but no QB can thrive under constant pressure. Travis Kelce, still the heartbeat of the offense with Mahomes, but likely is going to have maybe reduced snap counts. Mahomes needs other weapons to step up, especially with Rashee Rice suspended, I think, for the first basically half of the season. So that's when we need Worthy to step up, Brown to step up. The other wide receivers, we got Juju, veteran. The other tight ends, aside from Kelce, we need Noah Gray to step up, Jared Wiley, the running backs to catch the ball out of the backfield. I feel good about all those, but we just need them to take a little bit more step, especially Xavier Worthy coming into year 2, taking that next step, right? And then we have Simmons' development. If he develops, it keeps this offense elite. If he is solid and good, I know he's going to have his ups and downs because he's a rookie, but if he doesn't have to be elite yet. He just has to be better than what we had. And if he is that, my God, this offense is going to take off. If he falters, that's going to bring the house down and force Mahomes into chaos mode and trying to make Mahomes magic and play hero ball. We don't want that. We want Mahomes to be Mahomes, but have that steady pocket he can work his magic in, right? And of course, football isn't just about scoring. It's about getting after the other team's quarterback. It's about being able to protect your quarterback and also get after the other team's quarterback. And Spags' defense has been Casey's backbone the last few years. We can say that. As a Chiefs fan, I can say I'm a diehard Chiefs fan. I'm going to say that. I'm going to be honest. The offense has been good, but it hasn't been what maybe some of us are accustomed to. When we got to 2018 and Mahomes went for 50 and 5,000, right? I don't think the offense is ever going to get back there, but we wanted to get closer to back there. In the last few years, the defense has, I think, carried the team. And then when we get to the playoffs, the offense does take off. Right now, granted, this past year's Super Bowl, we know what happened. It's okay. They're going to come back stronger, right? But like I said, the defense has been the backbone the last few years. The pass rush, Chris Jones anchors it, but those young edge rushers like Kalofkis, and then you got Mike Dana, and then you got Charles Omenihu, they must be consistent and have bigger numbers. We just can't rely on Chris Jones to get pressure on the quarterback. We need those 3 guys to up their pressure numbers and get sacks on the quarterback and take that pressure off Chris Jones. Because if Omenihu and Dana and Karlofskis is winning one-on-one, now they have to decide, do we double team Jones or do we double team one of these other 3 guys when they're on the ball? So it really starts there. Those guys really got to step up this year. because a dominant pass rush creates turnovers. It takes pressure off your secondary, which we have a young secondary, but I feel good about our secondary. Every bit, if everybody on does their job, it takes pressure off the rest of the core. Like if the pass rush is able to get pressure, it takes pressure off your secondary, right? And that's big. That's big. And that's what's key in Spags' defense. Because if you go back and look at the year that the Giants beat Brady in the Super Bowl when they were going for their undefeated season, they were able to get pressure on Brady because they had a monstrous front four. They were able to get pressure with four. If you're able to get pressure with four, it makes everything on your defense that much better. It helps the secondary. It helps the linebackers in run coverage, and they can focus on what they need to focus on instead of I gotta go cover. I gotta do this. I gotta be out on coverage longer. It just helps everything, right? And speaking of the secondary, here's the subplot of this year. Trent McDuffie's in a contract year. Contract year undefeated. Now, there was talks that maybe a contract would get done before the season starts, but according to Nate Taylor, who now works at ESPN, Nate Taylor did report that the Chiefs and McDuffie are not going to get a contract done before the season, but that doesn't mean they can't get one done during the season. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but contract year is always undefeated, and McDuffie is one of the top cornerbacks in the league, and I expect him to have a great year this year. So before a big performance early in Brazil on Friday, tomorrow, whenever you're listening, as we're recording this, it's tomorrow. But as you're listening to this, it will be game day. Could sway talks. It could. It could. I know the Chiefs want to get it done early so they don't have to go through the season. He has a big season and his number rises. So that is a subplot of this upcoming season, right? So if the pass rush clicks and McDuffie stays locked in, this could be the NFL's best defense again. The people like to sleep on the Chiefs defense, act like we're no good, but come on now. Come on now. Come on now. You know better. But with that said, even with that great defense, the NFL is a marathon. How you start matters almost as much as you finish, right? Because September games are crucial. Division matchups as well through the season and early tone setters, right? You got to set the tone early because falling behind means you're chasing the Bills. You're chasing maybe the likes of the Bengals or the Ravens or even the Texans for the AFC's top seed. Instead of leading the pack, you're falling behind. So it's key to start early, right? And that ties back to the Brazil opener against a divisional opponent. You're starting the season against the Chargers, division opponent, who you're going to see again later in the season. Get that game. Get it. You got to get it. You got to start fast, right? But the offense has to adjust quickly because they do have a big hole to fill at wide receiver. So that's when I said everybody's got to step up because we have the Rashee Rice suspension that leaves a major void. Like, granted, we had a whole bunch of injuries at wide receiver. We didn't even have our top running back, and we still made the Super Bowl, right? Because Rashee Rice, before he got injured, that was Mahomes' trusted wide receiver last year until he got injured. Because he proved the year before, his rookie year, that, this is a guy that we can trust. And he was building, got blocked before he got hurt. But then Xavier Worthy took that next step. So I can't wait to see those two on the field together, right? So in my eyes, when we get there later down the road and halfway through the season, I can't wait to have these two on the field at the same time. But right now, who has to step up? Worthy has to take that next step. Hollywood Brown has to be Hollywood Brown. We signed him again to a one-year deal. Last year, he got hurt in the preseason. He came back later in the season, but I don't think he was where he needed to be. He might have came back earlier than he came back earlier than expected, but maybe he wasn't ready mentally, physically. But this year, he had a full offseason with the Chiefs, had a camp. He caught some passes in preseason. He needs to step up. Juju Smith-Schuster needs to be. And one of those guys, Brownlee or I can't say his name. Always mess up. Thornton. Let me look up his name. But those guys have to step up as well. And yes, we can't just rely on Travis Kelce. Like Travis Kelce, I think I'll get to that later, but you gotta have Noah Gray step up. You gotta have I think Jared Wiley is gonna be on there as well, stepping up as well as the tight end. And then you still have your running backs in the backfield. You have Pacheco, you have Smith, the rookie we just drafted. You have Elijah Mitchell, who's like your Jared McKinnon type, and then we also re-signed Kareem Hunt. So Tyquan Thornton. Tyquan Thornton was the other guy who had a pretty good preseason, and Jason Brownlee. So we can have those two guys step up. I know he drafted Jalen Royals, but I think he might be going on IR to start the season because I know he's out for this game. And we have Nico Remigio, but he's more of our kick returner specialist. But I think if you just have Juju, Jason Brownlee, Tyquan Thornton, Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy step up in the wide receiver room, why Rashee Rice is out, I think that will help tremendously, right? Because Mahomes elevates talent, but he needs reliability. You have to be reliable. He has to be able to trust you. And that someone has to be that consistent target behind Kelce until Rice returns, right? So that's where I'm at on that. Those guys step up, I think would be good to go. And even if the receivers figure out, the calendar itself tells us which months matter the most. In the NFL, this is in my eyes, the 2 months that matter more than any others are September and December. September sets the tone. You can listen, this is fact. September sets the tone. Because if you look back to the Bengals, who seem to start off slow, 1-3, 0-4, right? If you start off, you're playing catch up the rest of the season. And then it's just like your crawling is crawling, you're fighting, you're scratching, you're crawling, you're trying to get a playoff spot, but you dug yourself a hole. You can't dig yourself a hole. That's why starting off fast, in my eyes, is very important. First 4 games. That's just how I break it down. I know I'm going to mention a name that Chiefs fans don't like, but I understood it. Todd Haley, when he was the head coach, he always broke the season down into quarters. And at that time it was 16 games. He broke it down into the quarters. First quarter, first 4 games. Second quarter, the next 4. Third quarter, the next 4. And then the last quarter, the fourth quarter, would be the last 4 games of the season. Now, we play 17 games, so this is, in my eyes, how I break it down. I just break it down in, like, sections. The first section, or first 4 games. The next section, the next 4 games. The third section, next 4 games. So it would be 4-8. It would be the next 4 from the next 4. And then the last section, section 4, would be the last 5 games. That's how I just break it down in the 4 sections, with the 4th section having 5 games. So the first section to me is the tone setters. September, first 4 games. Chiefs must go 3-1, 4-0. If they do that, they build rhythm, they test the new pieces, and they establish an identity early on, they'll be good. They'll be sitting pretty. Strong start. I love it. Listen, you don't win the Super Bowl in September, but you can dig a hole that's hard to climb out of if you don't start off fast. Just ask the Bengals. Like I said, they seem to always start off slow, and then they start playing good ball, but it's like you're playing catch up to teams that started off strong and maybe went 8-0 the first 8 games, and they're not in that big hole like you were, right? And then we get to December. That's when you finish the job. December football is when it really starts to matter. Every December game feels like a playoff game. It's very important. Teams battling for position, battling for seeding spot, battling for your division. Health, depth, and execution matter the most. This is when the race for the number 1 seed in the AFC peaks. Same on the NFC as well. It's the same thing. I'm just talking about the AFC because I'm talking about the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs are measuring themselves against the Bills, Bengals, and Ravens. And those are, to me, the top 3 teams that the Chiefs have to worry about for the number 1 seed. I can't put any other teams in there. Maybe Houston. I'm not going to put the Steelers. I can't put the Jets. I can't put the Dolphins. I can't put the Chargers, even though they've been to the playoffs a few years, but they haven't really won anything. I can't go with the Raiders or the Broncos, even though like those teams are going to be better this year and it's still going to be tough in the AFC and West, and I'll get to that in the next segment. But the teams vying for the number 1 seed in my eyes, it's the Bills, Bengals, Ravens, and Chiefs. And one slip in December could be the difference between Arrowhead in January and having an 8th straight AFC Championship game, or going on the road to the playoffs, right? So the bottom line is September gets you out in front, December locks you in. If the Chiefs control those 2 months, September and December, the AFC will once again run through Kansas City for the 8th year in a row. And part of that journey always runs through the division. I'm not going to say that these other teams can't win the division because they can. But until it's proven otherwise, if I was an analyst, because it makes no sense when analysts talk and say, hey, yeah, the Chargers are going to win this, before I get on just talking about the division, it boggles my mind how somebody can literally pick another team in the AFC West besides the Chiefs when there's no proven track record, there's no facts, there's no stats to back up you picking the Chargers or the Broncos or the Raiders. Why? It kind of makes your take look like you don't know what you're talking about. So it just boggles my mind until somebody proves it more than just once. If it happens back to back years that the Chiefs don't win the AFC West, then I'll be like, okay, now the AFC West is wide open. But until that happens, and it has to happen more than once. It has to. If it just happens one time, we're like, okay. Like if the Chiefs lost this year, the AFC West, and the next year they win it another 10 years in a row, I'll be like, that was a one-off. Shit happens, right? But it just makes no sense to me when analysts, and I know they're smart, they know what they're talking about when they say some nonsensical thing like every year somebody's always picking the Chargers, or now we're on to the Broncos. Are they going to take the AFC? I'm not saying the AFC is not going to be tough this year. I'm not saying these teams haven't gotten better, but there's no proven track record to say the Chiefs are going to lose. But I'm always going to pick them because I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm a diehard fan. I'm not going to pick them to lose the West because I don't think they're going to ever lose the West, right? Because they have a very good team. They have a very good organization. These teams are catching up, yes, but people out there just saying every year somebody's always picking the Chargers, and I have no earthly idea why. What has Justin Herbert done? Nothing. He's literally done nothing. Well, he's got all the physical tools. That has nothing to do with anything, right? So that's all I got on that. But like the Broncos, they got a good defense. They got Sean Payton's system stabilizing, but at the same time, like who is Bo Nix throwing to on the offense? People talk about the Broncos are going to take that next step. You know, they're gonna take the West from the Chiefs. I'm like, what offense in what statistics and facts do you have to back that up? I'm not saying they're not good. I'm not saying division games aren't hard. They're always hard. It's a division opponent. It's a rival opponent. They have years of film on each other, especially with Mahomes. Like the core that's been with the Chiefs have been with it since Mahomes has started. The core, coaching staff, and core players. So, of course, that's why division games are always hard, no matter how good the other team is or how bad the other team is. They're hard because you play them twice a year. So, picture this. In 1 year, you play them twice. You go to the next season, you play them another 2 times. That's playing the same team 4 times in 2 years. In 3 years, you played that team 6 times. Of course it's gonna be hard. They know who you are. That's why Max Crosby with the Raiders is always a nuisance when he plays the Chiefs because he knows Mahomes. He's played against him a lot. He's played against Mahomes since Mahomes has been starting quarterback in 2018. That's why I think people miss the fact that that's why division games are close and they're always hard. I don't ever expect the Chiefs to go out and just blow out the division team, even if they're bad, because I know it's going to be tough because they have a lot of data, a lot of film on each other. That's why it's always hard. But like the Broncos, they had good defense. They got Sean Payton, but who is Bo Nix throwing to? Question. Chargers, Jim Harbaugh is a good coach. He brings out the toughness. But what has Justin Herbert shown you? And plus, they lost their left tackle in the preseason. He's gone for the season. So that is a big loss. That is the person that protects the quarterback's blind side. And then you have the Raiders, who I think are going to be more respectable than they have in the past. They actually have a head coach in Pete Carroll that knows what he's doing. Right. So I think they're rebuilding, but they're always dangerous in rivalry games. They always are. I don't care. I know we like to shit on the Raiders, and I'm a Raider hater. I don't like donkeys. The Chargers don't even have real fans, and I'm a Raider hater. That's how we view the teams. As Chiefs fans, that's how we view the other teams. They're donkeys. Chargers don't have real fans. And the Raiders, we're just a Raider hater. But they're going to be improved. They are, right? And if listen, all the Chiefs, I think the standard in winning games is 12 or more wins. 12 or more wins. Now with having 17 games is where we have to be at. If it was 16, it'd be 11. 11 does nothing no more. You have to win 12 or more. Get your division, be division champs. The AFC is not going to be a gimme. It never is. We always competing. But I always believe the Chiefs will come out on top, right? And the difference between the number one seed and a wild card could be one bad game. You have to win those division games. Those are very important. Win your division games and win your conference games. And then sprinkle in some other wins. I'm not so worried about those NFC wins because when it comes down to it, if there is a tiebreaker, they go with the division, they go with the conference games, and then they'll probably go with, they go with your conference and then the other conference games. There's different type of tiebreakers. So it's like division games, the conference games of the conference you're in, and then the other conference games. So it's very important. But the goal is win your division. Win your division, you get a home playoff game. You in the dance, right? Because all of this is building towards one ultimate goal. And we all know what the ultimate goal is. I don't have to say it out loud. We all know what it is. We all know what the ultimate goal is, right? So the keys down the stretch, right? The ultimate goal is, I'll get to it. But the keys down the stretch is Mahomes being upright, being protected, being able to work his magic inside the pocket, Kelce healthy, your star player is healthy and fresh. Josh Simmons being steady all season long. I know he's a rookie. He's going to have his ups and downs. But if he is steady and solid, oh my God, this offense is going to be amazing. Wide receivers holding up until Rice returns. And the pass rush of being consistent. Right? And what this is building towards is that prize is the Super Bowl on February 8th, 2026 at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. It's the 49ers' backyard, but the Chiefs wanted to be their coronation stage. So, what's the verdict? The Chiefs' season, to me, hinges on two things on both sides of the ball. Josh Simmons protecting Mahomes and the pass rush terrorizing quarterbacks. Add in the challenge of weathering the Rashee Rice suspension, and this team's resilience will be tested. And I have no fear that they won't rise above it. They have Andy Reid, they have Spags, they have a great coaching staff, great coaches all around, on all sides of the ball. I have no fear that they'll be resiliency in every which way. They'll be tested early on. Their first 4 games. Chargers, basically in a neutral site, basically a road game. It's on a neutral site in Brazil. Next game, home against the Eagles. And then I know it's the Giants and the Ravens. I'm just not sure which order. But those are the first 4 games for the Chiefs. And they don't have Rashee Rice. It's the Chargers, Eagles, Giants, and Ravens. 2 of those are on the road, 2 are at home. That's big. If you go 3-1, if you go 3-1, I'll be like, let's go. Like, we're sitting pretty. You go 4-0, I'm like, I'm really talking my shit to everybody. But if we go 3-1, 4-0, I'm talking about shit and be like, what y'all doing? What y'all doing? Because the Ravens lost 1. I'm not worried about the Eagles because they're not in our division, but they're in September, which to me, you got to start out fast. So we need those games. Like 2 of those games against conference opponents, 1's against a division opponent, 2 are against non-con, but they're still important because they're in September. And to me, September, December are important. But make no mistake about it, this is a revenge tour. After what happened in the Super Bowl against the Eagles, the Chiefs are coming into 2025 with a chip on their shoulder. They're mad. That left a bad taste in their mouth. So Mahomes is hungry. Andy Reid is reloaded. And Travis Kelce, I think this might be his final season. And I expect him to go off one more time. Emptying the tank for another ring. Listen, he lost 25 pounds in the offseason. And he even said it like the last 2 years, he was like, he wasn't all there. And it's granted, like, he was looking probably past life outside of football. He's setting himself up. And now he's like, this is my last season. I'm going to do this shit because that shit left a bad taste in my mouth. I got 2 Super Bowl rings. I got 3 rings. I want another one. I want to go out on top. So I think he's locked in. He is locked in. And I cannot wait because it all starts in Brazil. Brazil's where it's going to start. We find out tonight. As I'm recording this, is tomorrow night. As you're listening to this before the game, it starts tonight against the Chargers in Brazil. My prediction, these Chargers in Brazil, Chiefs 35, Chargers 17. Kansas City makes a statement on the international stage and sets the tone for the rest of the season and puts the NFL, all the other NFL teams on notice. That's where I'm at. 35-17, City. Mahomes looks strong. I mean, Simmons looks great. And Mahomes goes off. I think the offense goes off from Jump Street. And I cannot wait. I'm so excited for tomorrow. I'm just excited for this weekend in general. Got Chiefs football tomorrow. It's Red Friday. I'm going to go get my flag. How about them Chiefs? How about those Chiefs flags? I'm going to get like 3 of them. And then I coach middle school football. We got a game Saturday morning. So I'm just excited. Football season is in full effect. Football season doesn't really begin for me until the NFL season starts. I'm not really into college football. I just like to pay attention. I just like to know the players that are coming out so I know who they are if they get drafted by the Chiefs. That's my whole thing. But, we here. That's all I got for today. You've been listening to The Adam Kennedy Show, where sports and entertainment collide. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, share with your fellow Chiefs fans, and join me all season long as we break down every high, every low, and everything in between. Until next time, I'm out. Peace. Let's go. Chiefs Kingdom. How about those Chiefs?